Welcome everyone to another episode of the Train Studio. I'm your host, Sean Morris. Tonight on the Watch Me Work video, I'm just continuing with my houses that I was working on. Tonight I'm just going to do the first application of snow to these buildings, so you kind of missed that in the other Watch Me Work video, so I'm kind of going back. So yesterday you saw me applying the second layer, and the previous day you saw me putting on the flex paste, so I'm actually just going to do the in-between step now. So I have two of the same building, except for obviously one is destroyed and one is not, so I'm just going to cover up these two with the first layer. If you want to see what I did yesterday, or kind of where that is now, that's the buildings that I have done so far. So obviously there's two intact buildings, or somewhat intact buildings, and then there's two heavily destroyed buildings. So that's the four that I have there. There's one more, not sure if you can see that, just over there off camera, and then obviously I have these two here to do, and then the rest will be those three. So I'm getting there with the buildings, and that's where I have been spending the last few days working on that stuff. So I will just work on camera and chat away. Some people have said they've enjoyed the Watch Me Work videos. I'm sure they're not for everybody, but you know, the show must go on, so to speak. So without causing further delay to my work schedule, I'd like to kind of just do the videos like this. That way I get video content up, and then you guys can also interact with the videos, and at the same time I am not delayed on my work schedule, because I'm kind of finding myself a little bit limited on hours in studio. Even my weekends have been kind of filling up with events at school, so that time becomes very precious to me, and I do not want to delay my customer any longer than I have to. So I'm gonna kind of give myself a mid-November deadline. I'm really hoping to be done by then. Not sure how realistic that is, but I will do my very best to meet that schedule. I do have to do detail work around each of the buildings. I'd like to give a little story to each building area, and that's going to be probably the most time consuming. Obviously covering the ground with snow effects will not be too difficult, so that won't slow me down, but doing the little detail bits will cause me a lot of time, just because each of those I kind of got to go in and think of a little narrative to put in, and get the little detail bits, and probably do a little bit of painting and various other things like that. So as I mentioned, typically just working on one section at a time, just covering over the flux paste. For this layer, I'm not trying to space it out too much, because that kind of gets done in the second application. Again, just dumping on the snow, usually 3 or 4 times is enough to kind of get it covered. This is really just the base layer. Kind of notice I've been using a lot more scenic cement than I had anticipated, so gonna have to put a little order in for that. I got one more bottle in reserve and about half a bottle on the shelf, so that will get me a good start, but I just don't want to run out in the middle of applying the snow, so I'll pick another one of those up, probably 2, just to be safe, and that way I won't run out. But the stuff's pretty good. I don't normally use it. I usually just do my own sort of dilution of PVA and just do that, but I find the scenic cement has been really nice in its consistency and application, so I think I'll stick with that for the rest of the project, and in the future maybe make use of it as well for some other things. I'm not too sure how it will look on flocking, and whether it will cause any discoloration in the shades, but I will I will certainly give it a go, and if it works out great, then super. And if not, I have the stuff by Scenic Express. It's a concentrate that I buy fairly regularly. I think you guys have probably seen it in my other videos. I have that stuff, so I can always just do the dilution on that. It's very easy to dilute, so that's always an option for the flocking, because I know that it doesn't cause any discoloration. So, but other than that, I mean, not much has come about since last night. I was speaking last night about tournaments and ETC and things like that. So the voting for the ETC is happening right now. It was kind of a long drawn out process. There was several votes that were happening, and then there was revoting and some political things and various other drama that has sort of come up in the tournament. It's very unique to this year, and in past years it's been relatively low key in terms of that. But I think everything's sort of sorted out now, and the voting is taking place, and it was decided that late war will be happening again this year, which is great, and it looks like early war for 2015. So that's cool, because very few people are playing early war in my area anyway, and I would like to get some more early war going. So I do have my Czech Panzer Force, but I've had that for quite a while. So early war just means I have an excuse to have somebody paint me another army, and more toys is always fun. So the more toys means I need to do more work, because work is what pays for toys. So hence here I go with more projects after this one. So that's the news there. Again, I mentioned it's going to be in Serbia again this year, so that was really a cool place to visit last year, and I look forward to returning there this year. And I'm going to bring my wife along, because she has not attended the ETC yet. She missed out on Poland and missed out on Serbia, so I'm going to bring her along this year to attend, and she can do some shopping while I do some gaming. So it's a several day event too. The ETC itself is going to be 3 days, so it's a team tournament. It's a 6-man team, and we're not sure if we're going to be playing 6 games or 5 games, but I believe it's going to be 6 games over 3 days. And then there's also a sort of a pre-tournament. It's a singles tournament. I typically just use it as a warm-up, more time to practice my list before the ETC. So that's usually a 3-round tournament, although it's a 2-day event this year, I believe, so it may be up to 5 rounds. So I could be looking at 11 games in 5 days. So that'll be pretty impressive, and really make the trip worthwhile. So not that it hasn't been in the past, but more gaming against more cool people that I don't regularly get to game against is always a blast, I think. And certainly I have most fun playing in tournaments. I just like that style of play. I don't enjoy, not that I say I don't enjoy, but games that kind of go on for 3 or 4 hours, low key, sort of, taking long times on turns. I'm used to the tournament format, which is a little faster play and, a little more sort of to the grind in terms of gaming. I like that. I like to get in the zone for, 2.5 hours and really put my mind to what's happening on the table. Friendly games against people on occasion is fun. I prefer, if it's going to be a friendly game, to be a tournament warm-up, talking strategically about lists and exactly how to play them in certain situations. That's more up my alley. But that's just me. If people are playing friendly games, I'd much rather watch and add in some casual observations and maybe some help. But straight up casual games is not for me. It never has been. So I get my enjoyment from tournaments, and that's fun for me. And certainly you get your enjoyment out of a game for whatever reason. You don't even have to play to like Flames of War. You can just like the miniatures, like the history, like painting, like modeling, whatever. I certainly never got into this game because I liked it from the get-go. I liked the scale, and I liked the scenery aspect of it, and that's how I got into the game. I was first a model maker, or terrain maker, I guess, and second a player. And then as I started playing and, improving my skill, I developed a real interest in tournaments, and that's where I've kind of been for the last 4 or 5 years. So, and I don't see anything in the near future that's going to pull me away from this game. I've never been into anything else really. 40K is interesting to look at, and War Machine's got some really neat models, and the gameplay looks cool, and there's lots of other cool games out there, but it's really hard, I find, to get really entwined in a game as in depth as I am with Flames of War, and also get involved with other games. I just feel that it would be too much interest or too much of a time investment to have 2 games on the go. And I am somewhat into X-Wing. I really enjoy that game, but that's a game that you can kind of pick up and play, 2 or 3 games in a couple hours, and it doesn't really involve any investment. There's no real terrain to make for it, and there's no painting because it's pre-painted, and probably why I love it the most. But other than making a few lists here and there, it's not really much of a time commitment. You can use a similar strategy with the same ships, and there's a little bit of combo making, but it's certainly not a time investor like Flames of War is. And I'm not competitive in X-Wing. I just play it. That's if I'm going to play a game for fun, it's going to be a game like that, something you can pick up in an hour, play a few games of, put away, and not really have to do much thinking about it. But with Flames of War, constantly drawn back to lists and rethinking games and how I could have played better, and strategy and things like that. So, and I really enjoy that about the game, and talking shop and talking lists and things like that. So that's where my head's at, and I couldn't make much more of a commitment to anything else at this point. Certainly because of the terrain making takes a lot of time, and that's not something I plan to give up anytime soon. So here I am, working every night, toiling away on this stuff. But if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it, as much as I like to sometimes complain about having a lot of work to do. But it's cool. I like doing videos, as long as they don't require me to have too much thought to do them. I like just doing it, putting it up, you guys watching it, giving me feedback on it. I love reading the comments. Enjoy seeing those, and going from there. All right, so I think I hit all the areas here, and like I said, this is just a first coat, so it doesn't really matter if I miss much. But there you go. If you guys can see that, a little bit of snow down there, a little bit of narrative on that. Where'd the snow fall, what reasons, that kind of stuff. So these buildings, by the way, are Total Battle miniature buildings. These are the pre-painted versions. So I've long said that they're pretty much the best buildings in terms of the paint quality that comes out. They do a lot of weathering and detail work on them, and I'm really happy with using these buildings. So a lot of my customers, because I've used them, they also kind of want them. So this project here, I had option for what buildings to use, and because it was going to be a snow table with some of the destroyed buildings, I already knew that ahead of time. I wanted to go this option. It doesn't mean that there's not other buildings that are worthwhile using. The Crescent Route new buildings that are coming out are awesome, and if you haven't seen the bases that they're making, those are fabulous, and I plan to use those on my next project. So you guys have been watching my videos for a while, some of you, and you know that I really like to promote things, and I don't promote items for stores that I don't use myself. I don't do promotion because somebody wants to give me something. I do promotion because I actually like a product, and if I do get anything from a company, for whatever reason, it always comes about as a result of me having used their items first. If I do get something, it's usually a thank you for, saying that I enjoyed using their items or their products. It's never the other way around. I've used these items for a while, this particular company, and if you look back my old videos, I've been using Crescent Root stuff for like 5 years. So when Mark's company sort of stopped production for a while, I was really actually devastated, and I went out looking for another company to fill my needs, and that's when I found these guys. And I've never had a problem with any of their items. So when Mark came back online, of course I'm going to support his company as well, Crescent Root Studios. But Total Battle Miniatures was really good to me in terms of meeting the needs and getting me product fast, and working with my shipping situation and where I live and all that stuff. So two really awesome companies, both worth checking out. Depending on the location you are, if you're in Europe, maybe Total Battle Miniatures works a little better for you. If you're stateside in Canada, then Crescent Root may be the option to go. But neither one's going to steer you wrong. Both have excellent customer service, and I would recommend to use both. And certainly I will continue to use both. And they kind of offer different items, so which is great because depending on your needs, you can have a look at, and both companies will serve you well. So I highly encourage you to check those guys out. And neither one of them's going to watch this video, so there's no real reason to advertise about them. Just felt I'd put that in there since I've been working extensively at the buildings, and I really haven't mentioned what company they're from. So go check them out, Total Battle Miniatures. So I'm going to just continue working on this, guys, here, and I will come back perhaps tonight, depending on the dry time on this. I should be able to get another video in tonight. This one's already fairly lengthy, I think, but this will be up later, and then I will do another video as I get the second layer, something you've already seen, but I'll just continue to chat about some Flames War related items, and maybe you guys can start generating some comments. Not many comments in the last few videos, but as suspected, I mean, they're just watching me work, so it's not really going to be much questions. But if you guys do want to put comments in, it does help me to generate some topics to talk about. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.